Okay everyone, so for this next lesson, let's talk about some more logical operators, and let's also talk about the increment and decrement operators. So the XOR operator, let's have some examples just so that we can see how this can be implemented and used. So let's go and try to look at how this could work. So we have XOR 1, let's declare some variables and then initialize them with some values. And let's have a value of 10. Here let's give this a value of 20. And then let's have a var dump just to check what are we going to get if we try to use the XOR operator for checking the value of XOR 1, assign the value of 10, which is true, or XOR operator, and let's check XOR 2, assign the value of 20. And we should get a false value. We should get a false value here. Alt Z. So let's try to see what are we going to get. So we do get that Boolean false value in our browser, as you can see here. Now, if we try to go and have another example, what if one of the conditions is going to be false? So you would see this is a bit different from some of the operators or some of the operators that we've worked with in the last lesson, like the OR operator here. And you would see if I go and try to make one of the values false here, we should be getting a true value here. And let's have a line break just to echo this out and refresh. We do get that true value. What if we have, just copy this and then let's go have this true, and this one is going to be false. So let's see, and we still get that true value. So if one of the values that we have for the expressions that we have here will be false, then we will get a true value. However, if we have both of these expressions that we're trying to compare are true, we are checking on whether XOR 1 is equal to 10, XOR 2 is equal to 20. So we're getting a false value. We're returning a false value here. Okay, so let's talk about the NOT operator, which is a bit unique, and this is going to be checking if the condition is not true. So let's have a value of 100. Then let's have a var dump here. And let's just analyze some examples. So let's have the NOT operator is assigned the value of equal to 100. What are we going to get? So we're getting that true value. What if we put here that exclamation mark? So if we say this NOT operator should have a value of not equal to 100. We're getting a false because it's currently true, right? So we're getting a false because it's currently true. But what if we go and put here some false value? Let's say this is going to be 90. We're still getting, and I think we need to put something here because precedence might be something that might affect our, so just have that in mind. There are some things that you might encounter that might happen if we are not considering precedence also. And I think what's happening here right now, if we try to remove this, we should be getting a true value here, right? But without that parenthesis, let's just have, I think let's have that parenthesis. So we want to evaluate first this value, and then we're trying to check on whether it's not true. So what are we going to get? So we do get true here, but here we're getting a false value without the parenthesis. So I think we did talk about precedence, and that might be something that might be happening right now if we're using this NOT operator and we're not careful with how we're considering precedence here or order of operations. So those are just some things to take note of. At least we're seeing here some possible things that might affect how the logic of your application will work if we are going to be using that exclamation mark or the NOT operator. So just as a quick run through, we have declared a variable. We initialize it with a value of 100. And then we are checking for if this value has, we're using the equality operator, is equal to 100, and that's resulting to the value of true. We're getting this Boolean value of true. Then the second comparison that we're doing, we are now using the exclamation mark, and we use the parenthesis for the order of operation, and we have the not operator, and we're checking if it's not equal to 100, and we see that it is equal to 100. That's why we are resulting in false. So the second comparison that we have here is negating the first one. And for the third comparison that we have here, we can see that we are using the not operator without enclosing it in parentheses. And because of the order of operations, the not operator is getting evaluated first, which will be resulting to false. And then it will be checking if false is equal to 90. Since false is not equal to 90, we're getting the expression that evaluates to false. And in this last expression that we have here, now we are trying to, so it's a bit confusing here on this part, so I do understand if you're not getting it the first time. So just a little bit of repetition, I'm sure you'll be getting a hang of it, especially when it comes to utilizing the use of open and close parentheses for you to ensure that this is going to be evaluated first. So in this fourth comparison, we are correctly negating the comparison of the not operator, and that's why we know that this is not, we want to check on whether this is not equal to 100, and we do get a value of true, or the result is providing us the comparison or the return value to true. It is giving us a return value of true. Just take note, everybody, that there is a bit difference between order of operation and precedence. When we talk about precedence, we are also talking about the higher, which of the operators will have a higher precedence before the operators with lower precedence. And when we talk about the orders of operation, we do know that these are two related concepts in mathematics and programming. In terms of order of operation, this is just going to be a set of rules that will be dictating the sequence in which different operations should be performed when we are working with mathematical expressions. So if you are familiar with PEMDAS, we do have that standard order of operations in mathematics. So parentheses, exponents or powers, multiplication and division from left to right, addition and subtraction from left to right, right? So those are some things to take note of if you hear the word order of operations. And when we talk about precedence, it's going to be related to the priority or importance of operators in programming language. So those are just some, of course, I'm not a mathematical genius, everybody. I just really try to work on rereading some documentation. So that's what I'll also be recommending. If you're learning some of this and we're getting a bit of a confusion, or you're getting a bit confused with some of the concepts, I would really recommend that you go through the documentation again and go back to rereading it one more time and reading it again and then rereading it again until at some point that you get the idea on what's currently happening. Me personally, I really get confused with this, so I really try to repeat it most of the time. Try to do a little bit of repetition with whatever I'm trying to explain here, just so that I will be able to further comprehend what's currently happening in the line of code that I'm writing, or the line of code that we are trying to figure out how it's currently working. So I think that's it for this video. I hope you got some ideas. If you have some suggestions to better explain this, feel free to put it in our question comments or suggestions. So thank you, and see you on our next lessons.